Hey everyone, my name is Samantha and I run Babette's Bunny Rescue. Here is our Bunny Care 101 class, which is for our fosters, adopters, or anyone who is just interested in learning about bunnies, especially if you just found a rabbit. So here is the start of our class. A little bit about my background is we impulsively bought a bunny from a pet store. It is this gray bunny here. His name is Dorian. And he was just super cute. He was for sale as a premium rabbit at the pet store. And they told us that they were healthy, neutered, flown in from Spain, a lot of good stuff. So we just had to have him. So we took him home and we knew nothing about rabbits. So we listened to the pet store, their advice on caging and food. And a quick Google search told us that they really want to have friends. So we went back to the pet store, grabbed two more bunnies, the ones in the picture, because I couldn't just leave one of them. So now we have three bunnies. And again, they are boys, neutered, right? And in 2 months, we had 15 rabbits. This is because the white bunny in the back, Cotton, was a female. No one was fixed. They were not spayed or neutered. They weren't even mature at the time. They were still babies. So once they reached maturity, we had a lot of babies. So in our first accidental litter, this is when we found out that we did not have boys and that they were not neutered. So unfortunately, out of the six in the first litter, Babette was the only one to make it. She's here in the middle. We had to bottle raise her because mom would not feed her, mom would not take care of her. She was a very young bunny, so that didn't help. But the main cause is because she was already pregnant with the second litter of six bunnies, which is the picture to the right. Those bunnies, thankfully, were healthy. Mom was getting the proper nutrition to help with her milk at this point because we started doing the proper research and buying the correct supplies to help her nurse them. When Babette passed away, unfortunately from surgery complications, we decided to open the organization, Babette's Bunny Rescue, in her name to help educate other people, hopefully before they make the same mistakes we did, and really give bunny parents an amazing bunny experience with having a healthy, happy bunny and just the right information for pet rabbits. So where do our rabbits come from? They come from accidental litters like how we had them. Impulse buys during Easter. Easter dumping season is usually from May to August, but because they are the third most surrendered and euthanized pet in the United States, they are constantly being dumped. And we get calls every day of people finding rabbits or they need to rehome their rabbits. So every rabbit rescue has an extremely long waiting list of bunnies in need. Animal shelters who are not equipped to handle rabbits or legally not allowed to take in rabbits will call us for help. Dumped rabbits found outside, when people get them and they'll think that they can survive in the wild, so then they'll just dump them outside, and that is not the case. Wild rabbits and domestic rabbits are completely different species. They can't even interbreed, so they do not have any of their cousins' instincts to survive. Surrenders for moving reasons, financial reasons, allergies, you name it, and our approximate waiting list right now is 11 months long. So this means that when people call in and say, hey, I found a rabbit or I need to rehome a rabbit, that is about 11 months long. Now we do prioritize strays, and so that way we can help as soon as we can for that bunny and the person who did a good deed and found the bunny that somebody else dumped. But our intake list just depends on adoptions and funds. Oops. What do bunnies eat? So they have to have unlimited grass hay, which should be at least 80% of their diet, 10% veggies, 5% healthy pellets, and 5% healthy treats. Rabbits need unlimited hay, to also trim their teeth down. So here's a picture of Olroy. Olroy is a senior now and happily adopted by one of our volunteers. And his teeth, unfortunately, were very overgrown when we first took him in, and they continue to grow wonky. So he has to go under anesthesia and get them professionally trimmed by an exotic vet specialist every so many weeks to months. Now they're finally slowing down, so it's not as often, but that it is pricey. It is hard on the bunny because they're going under anesthesia a lot. Thankfully, he does really well with it. So we definitely want to give them unlimited access to hay and natural wooden toys to trim their teeth down. There are different types of hays that you can get. We primarily recommend Timothy hay. Timothy hay is a very popular recommendation and the #1 vet recommended because it's very thick and stalky, so it's really good for their teeth. So this is your #1 option. Orchard grass is softer and sweeter, which they normally prefer, but because it's softer, it's not as thick to help grind their teeth. Although it can be used as their primary hay. Or you can make it half and half, like the hay blend in between, where it's half Timothy, half orchard hay. Botanical hay is Timothy hay with just dried flowers in it, like chamomile or lavender. Organic meadow hay is a great option. Oat hay is if you have a really picky eater, and we like to see this more as a treat because of its analysis. We just really want to stick to Timothy or orchard grass. If you have allergies to hay, you want to go with the orchard grass. That is normally what people are allergic to. They think I'm allergic to my rabbit. It's usually the hay. So getting tested, of course, is a great option if possible, or choosing to foster to make sure that no one in the family has allergies. Alfalfa hay at the top left is only for nursing moms or babies. It is very high in calcium and protein, so we want to give that to babies. Technically, you can feed up to 6 months based on Oxbow's recommendation. However, in our experience, feeding this up to 4 months of age and then weaning to Timothy or orchard hay is ideal. So here are the different hay options. Oxbow quarantines their hay for 3 months, which is amazing, so that you reduce the risk of RHDV2 coming in on the hay. Do More is a Tractor Supply brand, and this box in particular has a blend of Timothy, orchard, and botanical, so that's pretty neat. You can see like which one your bunny likes the most and just kind of test out the different hays all in one. Rabbit Hole Hay, Small Pet Select, Stanley, those are all options. Most of these you can get online. Stanley is a Tractor Supply brand, so that'll only be at Tractor Supply, and that compressed plastic wrapped picture is 50 pounds for 25 bucks at the time of this video. And then you have your bales to the right of it. So we buy by the bale. We buy 3-string bales, which is about 125 to 150 pounds of hay because we go through a lot of hay. But for 1 or 2 rabbits, you're not going to need that much. You can buy in bulk and then store them in storage containers. But I recommend not going larger than the 50-pound amount at a time, which are available in different brands. Yep, pellets. So for pellets, we only use Science Selective House Rabbit pellets or the adult rabbit food version. So the brand is Science Selective, and they have really thick nuggets or kibble, if you will. And that helps because all of these other brands that are acceptable in terms of like their ingredients and their analysis for the bunny, they are safe. But if you choose to get a brand with a smaller pellet, like the Small Pet Select version, has it on the outside, or you can see the picture on the Oxbow, they're very little, and we have had, unfortunately, multiple bunnies choke on this pellet and had to perform the Heimlich. So if you are choosing to go with a smaller pellet, please watch our YouTube video of our experience, how we perform the Heimlich, and YouTube how to do the Heimlich on a bunny just in case. We stopped feeding all of those small pellets after we had too many cases. These were even slow eaters, so it's not like they were scarfing it down. We did scatter feed or put it in a snuffle mat to help slow them down, but it did not help. It's just kind of an accident that happens, and we were not going to do it anymore. So we use the Science Selective house rabbit food with that big green arrow that is on Chewy and Amazon. It's also on the list of items we recommend, so you can just add it to cart whenever you are gathering your supplies for your bunny. These are bad pellets. So a lot of the pet stores will sell items that are geared for rabbits, but they are not actually safe for them. Because you see there's this cute bunny on there and you're shopping and you think, oh, my bunny's gonna love this. The options that they have a lot of added foods like dried fruit, carrots, papaya, all of these sugars that they do not need. The sugar is just going to feed into bad bacteria in their GI tract, and they are going to get upset belly and they can go into GI stasis, which we'll talk about. They have a lot of added coloring like red number 40, yellow number 5, blue number 1, and we don't need all of those additives. The salt, corn, alfalfa meal, those are all fillers. And we don't need that, especially for an adult rabbit who should be strictly Timothy Hay based pellets. So we don't want to skip all of these options. Bunny says, I disapprove, end of story. Good treats usually consist of fresh fruit like these blueberries, maybe a slice of apple, half a strawberry, any small amount, which we'll go over how much, but you can also do dried treats. So these strawberry treats or banana treats from Oxbow, they're usually a couple bucks for the bag. And what's great about like the banana is there's only one ingredient and it says dried banana. So that's perfect. We don't want any additives in there like added sugar or anything that's going to upset their belly. This is junk food. So these are just examples of some of the items in the pet stores that, again, are sold to be safe for rabbits, but they're not. Yogurt drops, any dairy products, these yo chips, they cannot digest yogurt, so we want to skip all of those. The Katie brand honey treat sticks, those have corn and sunflower seeds, and they cannot digest any of that. There's actually been cases where rescues have seen from owner surrenders, they'll come in impacted, and necropsy showed the corn, whole corn, and seeds will pierce the intestines. So we want to stay away from all of that junk. The Timothy biscuits are usually really cheap, the one in the middle, down at the bottom, and you get a lot of quantity for them, so it seems like a good deal, but it also has like 100 ingredients that we don't know what they are, and they're just going to make your bunny upset. So long story short, these are not safe treats. The salt and trace mineral lick are mostly for farming purposes. They do not need added salt. They have salt in their pellets, and that is plenty. Yuck, those make my tummy hurt. For vegetables, we start introducing after 12 weeks, and we do them in small amounts, like under half an ounce, to make sure it doesn't upset their belly or give them diarrhea. An adult bunny will get 2 cups of chopped vegetables per 6 pounds of body weight. So an easy rule of thumb is to just do 1.5 to 2 cups if your bunny is 5 to 6 pounds, as most rabbits are in that range depending on the breed. We should never feed iceberg lettuce, cabbage, broccoli, or avocado. Avocado is toxic to them, and bunnies cannot throw up. So if they digest something toxic, there's no way to assist them with throwing it up like a cat or a dog can. Broccoli, cabbage, and iceberg lettuce causes a lot of gas and bloating, and that can lead to GI stasis, so we don't want anything that's going to make them gassy. The first category of leafy greens should be rotated every 3 days. due to the oxalic acid content. So that's things like mustard greens, parsley, or spinach. I personally just choose to skip those items. We have a lot of bunnies here, so I go for spring mix, which is in your middle category. You can just get a package of organic spring mix or regular spring mix at your grocery store. You can get romaine, dandelion greens. They love herbs like mint, basil, cilantro is a favorite, bok choy, and fennel. Those are all great options. For non-leafy vegetables, it is no more than 1 tablespoon per 2 pounds of body weight. So these are your carrots, your broccolis, your leaves, and your stems. Again, I avoid broccoli because I want to be on the safe side. You can do edible flowers like hibiscus or rose. They do love the rose petals, which you can get dried on Etsy or you can grow your own. Bell peppers are a hit or miss. Usually everyone loves celery, so you can just try out these different types of items that are safe for your bunny. For fruits, you want no more than 2 tablespoons per 6 pounds of body weight. So you can feed any of these in this category here. So berries or your blueberries, strawberries, pineapple without the skins, just, a teeny bit. Banana is usually their all-time favorite, but it is no more than 1/8 of an inch per 5-pound rabbit. And I usually will only do this on special occasions because that has the most sugar out of all of these options. Peaches, pears, those are all great options, but you just want to give a really small amount daily at a maximum. Because we've had so many bunnies with teeth rotting issues, I just choose to give a fruit once a week. Like a tablespoon or 2 tablespoons of fruit for that bunny once a week. The look you get when you are late with breakfast or any meal, but especially a treat. Bunnies love to be on a schedule, so we feed pellets usually first thing in the morning, maybe 6:30, 7 a.m. And then at night we do leafy greens around 8 p.m. And we do that 12-hour window so that we can make sure that they're happy, healthy, and they're eating and not in GI stasis, which we'll talk about later. So once you have your schedule of what you're going to do in the morning at night, we just really suggest you stick to it because your bunny is going to love having that treat or meal at that time. Water bowl versus a bottle. Rabbits naturally drink downward, so having a water bowl allows them to drink more water rather than through this tiny spout trying to put their head up and to get any water that they can out of it. Bottles are also really hard to clean and harbor a lot of bacteria. Most of them drip. We have not found any that do not drip. These, especially like for guinea pigs, we even recommend for guinea pigs to have a water bottle attachment that has a little bowl so that they can still drink downward as they would naturally. You can purchase a heavy ceramic bowl, but we prefer to use gravity water feeders because they're really heavy, they don't tip over, and they have plenty of water in them. So we use these 1-gallon gravity water feeders from Amazon. The green arrow shows the one that we mostly use because that one is easier to clean than the one on the left. Both would work well. It's just the one on the left does have a stopper, so if you were to flip it upside down, the water's not going to come out, which is really nice, but it has a lot more components and a spring and a lot of things that can break that is harder to clean. And so we transitioned over to the one with the green arrow, which only has one little plastic piece that goes on it, so when you turn that over, the water can rush out, so you have to be careful, but otherwise, when it's in its regular position, it works amazing, and the bunnies usually drink a lot of water, so we refill it maybe twice a week for each rabbit. Litter box and bedding. There are a variety of litter boxes you can choose from. Some rabbits prefer to have grates, but grates can be hard on their feet if it's made of something like metal or chicken wire. We want to stay away from those and get the really soft plastic type like Litter Buns or Ruly. Both are amazing companies. The Litter Buns does have a smaller litter box option. And then they have the ones in the picture where it's a double graded litter box, so that's easier for a larger rabbit or if you have a bonded pair. The Ruly is the largest litter box on the market. It is huge and it's super easy to clean as well. So we have both of them at the rescue so you can see them in person and see if you want to order one of those. The Litter Buns company is in Canada. It's a small owned company, and Ruly is in Texas. She's also amazing. So you have a lot of different options. The blue standard litter box on the top left is on our Amazon. It's, I think, like maybe $8 at the time of this video, so it's very inexpensive. But you don't want to get the ones that are geared towards rabbits, like the ones to the right, because see how small those are, those corner litter boxes? They will try to use it, but their butts will hang out and they'll pee and poop all over the floor. And it's really hard to litter train them with not having an appropriate litter box. So they should be able to turn around in a complete circle in their litter box and have plenty of space, so the bigger the better. For bedding, the appropriate beddings are listed below, so you can use Carefresh or any safe paper bedding like that. That's usually going to be more expensive. Oxbow EcoStraw is a pricier option. We usually use the Green Arrow, which is Queen's Bedding pine pellets. So pine is not safe for rabbits. When it has gone through a heat process, it's called kiln-dried pine pellets, and those are safe because the heat has removed any of the toxins that can cause like upper respiratory infections. And we use the organic version because we compost. So we throw their whole litter box into a pile, we hose it down, dry it, put it back for the bunnies. You can get the Tractor Supply version, which is to the left of it, the green bag. Both of these options, the Queen's Bedding or the Tractor Supply version, which is not organic, for 40 pounds is about $8 to $9 depending on where you are. So it is also very affordable and you're going to use a small amount, so it's going to last you a while. The bedding to the right is not safe. So anything that's made for cats is usually clumping and they can digest it, and that will be very bad. So we don't want any critter litter, anything that has smells in it. The pine bedding, it says low dust. We don't want any of that because if you open the bedding, like the cedar, it says aromatic, it is a very strong smell. And that smell that we smell is heightened for the bunnies, and that can cause issues, especially upper respiratory infections. The type that are shavings also can stick to their fur, so we like to skip all of that stuff. So in their litter box, you are going to see their poop. Rabbits poop on average 300 times a day, and it's going to be little firm pea-sized poops that look like Cocoa Puffs. It's not smelly like a cat or a dog. Since they eat Timothy hay, if you were to accidentally step on it or crush it with your fingers, it's going to be just Timothy hay in that poop. So it's fairly clean, and that is what it should look like for a happy, healthy, active rabbit. Cecotropes below it are very soft. They are smelly, and it is a type of poop that they need to reabsorb. So they will go to their bum and eat this, and you'll see them come up and they're just kind of snacking. You're like, what are they eating? They could be eating their cecotropes. They know that they have to eat the cecotrope to reabsorb or absorb the nutrients that they missed the first time. So they are going to re-eat those. If you see those cecotropes in their enclosure, it means you're feeding too much fatty or sweet foods and we need to cut back. Smaller elongated poop can be a variety of issues. Hairy poop looks like a pearl necklace. It's poop hair, and you pick it up and it's all attached. And so this means that you are not brushing your bunny enough, and that can cause a blockage because they clean themselves like cats, so they're constantly like licking their body, licking their fur, and cats can vomit a hairball, but since rabbits can't vomit, you'll start to see this in their poop and it can cause a blockage. So you want to make sure you're brushing them. If you have a blockage, you have to go to the ER vet or your primary vet if they're available. And unfortunately, the surgery is very expensive. So we want to just make sure we're brushing them so they're not digesting any of their hair. Poop with mucus is another poop that has a variety of issues, so we want to go to the vet. Same for diarrhea. Diarrhea can be fatal, so we want to make sure we are going to the vet as soon as possible and showing them pictures, or if you can take the diarrhea with you, then they can also test it, do a fecal, and figure out what is wrong with Bun Bun. No poop at all is an emergency. So we are going to go to our GI stasis slides, which are at the end, and start our GI stasis protocol. If they have not pooped or eaten, usually within 12 hours, things get serious pretty fast and they can pass away within 24 hours. So acting as quickly as possible is crucial. Rabbit urine can be different colors. Golden, amber, red, or clear are all considered normal. Brown means they're dehydrated. If you see white, kind of gritty, sandy texture in their urine, like this middle picture at the bottom, this is bladder sludge. So this means there's too much calcium in their diet, which could be from feeding the wrong pellets, maybe the way that the bunny is processing the calcium. So this is going to be a vet question. Blood in the urine will look like spots in it, not the whole thing red, normally. If the whole thing is red and you can tell that it is blood and not red urine color, the blood will be vibrant. It'll look similar to human blood, and this is an emergency. So this can happen. I've seen it in rabbits who are not fixed. They are intact female rabbits because one of the signs for reproductive cancer is peeing blood. Did you know that rabbits have 28 teeth? So in this picture, this bunny is yawning, but he or she is showing the 2 teeth at the top, 2 teeth at the bottom, and the rest we cannot see. The vet can see with their special tool. They're going to check all of the teeth in the back and make sure that they don't have any peaks and that they are filed down evenly and not causing any issues or infection. So they have 28 teeth. For indoor housing, we have a lot of recommendations. Babette is here on the left with Dorian, and this was our very first enclosure that we made inside. So this is no longer the same, but we want a dog exercise pen, a water bowl or gravity water feeder, pellets for their eating in the morning. That's the kibble that we talked about, the House Rabbit Science Selective. Hay in a hay feeder, litter box with bedding, toys for enrichment, and a hidey house. So these are some more examples. The one on the right is what we currently have in our home. So Dolly and Theodore. Theodore is hiding in the tunnel, but they love this setup. They do have a dog exercise pen that I will use to block off that portion so that if they are not being supervised and they want to go to the couch, that they are temporarily in their area until we can watch them and enjoy that time with them in the living room. And we can watch them, make sure they're not chewing cables or chewing baseboards or just being destructive. Most of the time we can leave it open and they just lounge in their area, so they're pretty easy. But the dog exercise pen on the left is a perfect example. This is the white edition. Most of the ones that we have and recommend are black because the black ones are cheaper. They also come in blue and gold, but we only usually get black. So these are some more examples. The bunny picture to the right is homemade. Someone made that, and so I don't think you can purchase that anywhere. However, it is adorable. I love that it's see-through. It kind of reminds me of the acrylic playpens that you can buy on Amazon. There's a big brand called Clearly Loved Pets. That's the name brand. Those exercise pens are very costly, but there are some off-brands one that you can look into if you really want that style. Here are more examples. These personally have come from fosters and adopters. And you can see at the bottom, she uses CNC grids. CNC grids are appropriate and safe. I just personally don't love them because all those plastic pieces are always coming off and they're easily movable. but it is a great example of something that you can do if you do not have a bunny who is going to jump over or push it over. You can order more of them and connect them to make them higher. So that is always an option that doesn't have a door like the dog exercise pen on the right that we talked about. They do have doors so that you can walk in, and it's so much easier to clean. We only allow indoor rabbit adoptions, so rabbits should only live inside. And there are a variety of reasons why, but here are some examples. So, predators. They are prey animals, and everything would love to eat a rabbit. You have owls, hawks, cats, dogs, especially stray animals like cats and dogs, who will come unexpectedly and tear through any enclosure that you have. Foxes, snakes, coyotes, you name it, they all would unfortunately love to eat the rabbit. Pests and bugs like botflies, mosquitoes, fleas, ticks, spiders, these are all preventable by keeping them inside, and we see it often. So we'll have some pictures soon. Weather, living in extreme conditions, so rabbits cannot sweat. And so being in Florida and in this heat, especially in the summer, is very hard because they cannot pant and help regulate their temperature. They are also very prone to hypothermia in the cold, but in Florida we have more issues with heat strokes in the heat. Anything above 75 degrees, they start to get hot and they can't sweat, so they can never take off that fur coat. Disease, a lot of diseases. Again, parasites, RHDV2, ringworm. Loneliness, they are pretty lonely when they are kept outside. They want to be inside with the family, watching TV with you, enjoying their day and being with the family as much as they can. Escaping. A lot of people in neighborhoods will try to keep their bunnies outside. Bunnies will escape through by digging under the fence and end up going into the road, which can be very bad. So we do see that often with people who unfortunately are not educated and their bunny can escape. Again, heat is fatal. So if you think your bunny is having a heat stroke, they will have red ears, which are very hot to the touch, fast breathing, open mouth breathing. They are lethargic. Blood can come from their mouth, nose, or anus. Blood in their poop, shaking and tremors, wobbliness and confusion, seizures, weakness, and unconsciousness. So this says 77 degrees. I like to keep 75 and lower in the house. We're about 75, 76. But we're not in direct sun like you are outside. And because they can't sweat, all of these things can happen, which can result into death. So we want to make sure that we're keeping them inside so that they are enjoying life with you as a pet. Now, this next slide is not for the squeamish. These are all rabbits that have come into our care that have had injuries or illnesses due to being outside. So fair warning, here we go. The dangers of keeping rabbits outside. So you do see a lot of fly strike. Botfly larva is very nasty. It is this picture down here where a fly lays its eggs on them on the grass. They pick it up, it goes into their esophagus, and they are trying to find a way out through their skin. So as they go through their life cycle, they turn into a larva, which is also called warbles, and they will exit through the skin. It is very painful. The worms have hooks where they eat inside of the body, and it can go past the tissue to areas like their brain or respiratory and cause a lot of issues there. So we don't want any of that nasty worm stuff, and they can only get that being outside. We do see a lot of botfly larvae. You have your heat stroke possibility, your hypothermia, frostbite, respiratory infections, sore hocks if they are on wire flooring and not a proper flooring. That can cause sore hocks, which leads to infections. Coccidiosis is a parasite in their poop. That can be fatal. Scabies like mange, eye infections, conjunctivitis, GI stasis, predator-induced trauma, which is this bunny up here, worms, all of this is possible from being outside, and these are all real bunnies, a very small portion of real bunnies that we have encountered that we saved from someone illegally dumping them or keeping them outside. So please only keep your bunnies inside. We do not even do playtime outside because it is too hot and we just see too many issues with parasites and injuries. This foot here is a spider bite. This is worms. This is maggot eggs, mites, sorehawks, botfly larva. This is another botfly larva. This is an infected botfly larva because it got stuck in the bunny and it died, and it causes anaphylactic shock. This bunny up top is Flopsy, who had a head tilt, a lot of issues unfortunately, but happily got adopted and is doing much better after a lot of surgeries because he was living with chickens, and chickens carry a lot of issues like Pasteurella or a lot of illnesses. And so we don't want them around our farm animals either. We want them inside, a part of the family. So when your rabbit is not feeling well, here are some postures and behaviors to look out for. Changes to grooming, like if they have soiled or dirty fur, dirty ears, excessive scratching, wet around the eyes, chin, or their bottom. Changes to activity, like they are less active, they are aggressive, or they're just spending less time playing, exploring, or interacting with you. Changes to their movement, like limping, stumbling, dragging their back legs, if they have a head tilt or reluctant to move. Changes to toilet habits, so if they are losing their litter box training, if we have increased or decreased droppings or weird poops, diarrhea, we want to look out for those. Changes to eating, so whenever you go feed them the pellets in the morning and they are not excited to eat them, or they do not want to eat their favorite foods, this is a problem. Stomach pressing normally looks like pushing their stomach on the ground and then coming back up into a loaf position, and they look very restless. So they'll keep doing this, showing that they're uncomfortable and having a stomach pain. Signs of pain are sitting hunched. Usually the ears are back, the eyes are closed, and they may chat their teeth. So the teeth chatting is best described as when we're cold, like when humans are cold and we're shivering and our teeth are chatting up and down and they're clicking. That is what it sounds and looks like for a rabbit. So if they're doing the teeth chatting up and down, hitting those teeth, that means that they are in pain. Seizures, being unresponsive, or difficulty breathing, like open mouth breathing, are all postures and behaviors that we want to look out for that are an emergency. So when rabbits are not feeling well, they usually go into gastrointestinal stasis. This is when their digestive tract slows down or stops moving, and it is normally a symptom of the cause. The underlying cause is causing stasis. So what that could mean is, let's say, for example, you have a bunny who has a infection, like they have a tooth infection. They might not want to eat because they're in pain and they're not feeling good, and they go into GI stasis because of it. So if you treat GI stasis, you still have to figure out what caused stasis to make sure it's not going to happen again. If it has been more than 12 hours, we need to contact a vet immediately. As prey animals, they usually will hide their symptoms for as long as they can, so they may start acting strange, but seeing it as soon as possible will give them their best chances of recovering. Signs of GI stasis are like refusing food when they don't want to eat their favorite treats, refusing water, if they have little to no poops, if they're lethargic, those unusual body postures or bloating that we just talked about, teeth chatting, hot or cold ears, or silent or loud irregular gut sounds. So sometimes you can hear their guts, and that's something to make note of if they do. So what are things that can cause stasis? Improper diet is the most common cause of GI stasis. whenever it is from insufficient hay consumption. So if you are feeding too many pellets or too many starchy or sugary foods, all of those junk foods, those are going to cause GI stasis because it's going to make them gassy. And that gas pushes on their cecum and they don't want to eat and poop, and it is very uncomfortable. An intestinal blockage, like if they're ingesting a foreign object like carpet or an unsafe food like nuts or seeds, this can also be from fur. Pain from another medical issue like dental problems, ear infections, pains from injuries, that can all make them stop eating. Parasites or vector-borne illnesses, so this is like worms. We do fecals on all of our bunnies and we recommend doing them once a year. This is where they check their poop and look for things like coccidia or other parasites like pinworms, tapeworms, roundworms, and this will all come up on their test, and then you can easily treat if they come up positive. Poison or toxic substances like certain house plants or smells like perfumes and sprays, those cleaning products can all be potential culprits as to what is causing GI stasis. Dehydration, they need plenty of water, clean water, at all times, and so that is another reason why we use the 1 gallon gravity water feeders. Stress can also make them go into GI stasis. So if you are traveling, you're moving, some are just more sensitive to others. If they are bonded and they lose their bonded companion, they can also become depressed and stressed, and they can go into GI stasis as they mourn their friend. So these are all some possibilities of what causes GI stasis. So if you think your bunny is in stasis, you want to contact your exotic vet specialist as soon as possible. They'll probably do x-rays, they'll give you medications, and do subfluids to make sure that they are on the right track of getting better. Feeding Oxbow Critical Care is important. It's also called force feeding or syringe feeding. And it is tricky, but you want to make sure that you have that on hand and you mix the powder with water, and it creates a recovery food which helps them get nutrition and something in their stomach so that they do not pass from starvation. Now, we never want to force feed if there is a blockage because you can rupture their stomach. So if we think bunny ate carpet or has a hair blockage, we do not want to force feed. Doing an x-ray will tell you if there's a blockage. Liquid simethicone is baby gas drops. This is great for gas, and so I have on here how much to give. We do 1 to 2 cc's. I usually do 1 cc for every hour for the first 3 hours, and then 1 cc every 3 to 8 hours until they start to eat and poop again like normal. Practicing your bunny burrito with a towel will help you to check temperature, to give them their gas drops or their critical care if they are wiggly and don't want to. You want to keep them as comfortable as possible, give them belly massages. We're going to check their temperature too, which we'll talk about, and that will help determine if we need to put them on a heating pad or if we need to help cool them down if they have a fever. And then we want to watch out for negative feedback loop of GI stasis. So although we've gotten through the GI stasis and let's say bunny is better, we want to make sure that the sugars and starches that are causing gas and discomfort don't come back, and just make sure our vet clears us that bunny is okay. So ways to prevent stasis is to know your bunny's behavior. Having that schedule is really helpful because you know when you first wake up in the morning and you give them their pellets that they are happy, healthy, and they want to eat. Same thing with the leafy greens before you go to bed. That will tell you, hey, bunny wants to eat their leafy greens. You're good to go. So you want to have unlimited fresh hay and waters at all times. We're going to limit starchy and sugary foods because even the tiniest bit of fruit like banana or carrot can cause problems. So for our littles who really want to give them extra snacks, let's do hay, or there are hay-based treats that are really just hay and a little bit of pellets that we recommend making that are a nice treat that's high in fiber. And offering more toys like the dried willow leaves or apple branches are great other than fruit. Having your bunny inside with at least 16 square feet, which is the dog exercise pen, will help with making sure that they're moving around properly. That physical movement will help their GI tract keep moving. And having them in small cages or hutches does not allow them to move around freely. So we want to stick to the dog exercise pen or larger. Bunny proofing your space. Rabbits can chew cords, so like your phone cords or your computer cords. They can chew carpet or paint. So we want to make sure all of that stuff is out of the way, kind of like baby proofing, but we're bunny proofing. We want to have a stasis emergency kit on hand, so we'll have a picture of that. Having your bunny established at the vet for regular checkups is really essential. They should be going at least once a year. That's pretty ideal for most exotic vet specialists. And this will also help them know what their normal vitals look like so that when you do go in on an emergency, they have something to refer back to. Having a bunny sitter in case you're out of town who knows how to handle bunnies is really important. They can always reach out to us if they have any questions. You can send them this Bunny 101 class if they don't know anything about bunnies. And we also do have bunny sitters that we recommend. Grooming your rabbit frequently can prevent excess fur from entering the bunny's GI tract. So since they cannot vomit or spit up hairballs, we want to make sure we're brushing them as often as possible. Here's a variety of exotic vet specialists. So Exotic Bird Hospital, all of their doctors are qualified, so you can see any of the doctors there. However, our favorite is Dr. Smith. So that is who we normally see. Exotic Bird Hospital does require the vaccine for RHDV2, which we'll go over. So that's something to keep in mind. Head and Hills Animal Hospital is who we do almost all of our spay and neuters through. The doctor there is Dr. Parker. Forever Vets Animal Hospital in Nocatee has Dr. Quinn. Forever Vets Animal Hospital in Bartram has Dr. Medina. And Forever Vets Animal Hospital at Tinseltown has Dr. Junk. So the Forever Vet partnership is pretty new. We're really excited to work with them since they do see exotics. It's only those particular doctors at those locations. River's Edge Veterinary Clinic has Dr. Arbo. We usually only do spaying and neutering there because that's kind of to the best of his knowledge for bunnies. If it's something like abscesses or something more detailed, he also doesn't really have the equipment for some of the items, so he will refer you over to a true exotic vet specialist like Exotic Bird Hospital. Pets Are Family has Dr. Deckard. And our emergency clinic, so if you have an emergency and all of our other options are closed because it is a Saturday night, then we have to go to UF Small Animal Hospital in Gainesville. They are 24/7, and so they will take you in. The ZooMed team, who primarily sees the bunnies, are there Monday through Friday, but they do have someone on call on the weekends. And they have a really great team of ophthalmologists and just everything that your bunny would need. And they also have a CT scan. So if your bunny needs a CT scan for any reason, they're going to end up going to UF. So bunnies only have one vaccine that they can get. So dogs and cats, you have a lot more to get annually. The vaccination is for an illness called RHDV2, which is rabbit hemorrhagic disease virus type 2. So this information here came out a couple years ago. It came to Florida in 2020. So since then, I believe to this date, we've had 5 cases in 5 years of bunnies contracting RHDV2. The vaccine will prevent it being fatal. So if you choose to go to Exotic Bird Hospital or you want the vaccine, which they do require it, then you would have your bunny vaccinated, and if they were to contract the disease, they would not pass from it. For nail trimming, they should have their nails trimmed every 1 to 2 months, just depending on how fast their nails grow. So you can do a bunny burrito to help if you're doing it at home, especially by yourself and they're really wiggly. You can ask your vet clinic to do it. A lot of the vet techs will do it so you don't have to see the doctor, which will be a little bit cheaper. We do nail trims. We have volunteers who will help with your nails or your bunny's nails, so we can assist with teaching you how to do that. Picking up a rabbit improperly can lead to death or hind end paralysis. So we want to make sure that we aren't excessively picking them up. Whenever we pick them up, because they are prey animals, they think it is a predator grabbing them and they think they are going to die. So they will kick their legs so hard that they break their backs. And some tolerate it more than others, but we still don't pick them up just for fun. If you have to pick up your rabbit, like for nail trims, giving medications, we want to snuggle in the bed, here is how you pick them up. So you put one hand underneath their armpit, one hand on their butt, you scoop them straight to your chest so that their legs aren't just in the air dangling. We want to make sure they're comfortable on our chest. Bonding with your rabbit is a lot of fun in the beginning because you're learning their personality, they're learning who you are and all the smells and the new environment in the house. So laying with them is the easiest way to bond with them. Like this picture here is of a little girl and a bunny named Jackson. So laying in their pen, having treats, they are very highly motivated, but we don't want to give too many and cause stasis. So you can like hand feed the pellets initially. Being quiet around them while they're adjusting will help depending if they are a bunny who's more shy. Giving them space and understanding their body language is really helpful. We do have some videos on their body language so that you can help communicate with them. Giving them toys and plenty of places to hide, and overall just kind of respecting their boundaries. So if they don't want to be touched at the time, they'll let you know and we can try again later. So having the rabbit come to you is a great way to bond with your rabbit and creating a daily routine. 2 rabbits are better than 1. So rabbits are social animals and they love to have a friend, but choosing a friend can be difficult. They don't want to be with just anybody. They want to help find their companion that's going to be with them hopefully for the rest of their lives. And we help that relationship grow. So if you have a bonded pair, they usually have less destructive behavior because they have a friend to play with. So if you're sleeping at night and they're in their X-Pen in their cage, they are lonely. That's going to be a third of their life being by themselves while the humans are sleeping. So if they have a bunny friend, they are going to play around with them while the humans are asleep. Same if they are working or going to school. That's just another portion of their life that they are alone. So having a friend is really amazing for our busy families. Reducing stress-related illnesses. So whenever one isn't feeling well, the other one will give cuddles. They'll clean each other's eyes and ears. It is really sweet. They do give double the bunny kisses, and it helps increase their quality of life because they are happier. They can communicate with each other. You can have them bond to a cat or rabbit depending on the cat or rabbit since they are predators and rabbits are prey. But it's not the same because they cannot communicate with each other. So like for instance, when rabbits hop away, they might flick their back feet. And what does that mean? That means they're not happy. They're not happy with you or what just happened. So the other rabbits can speak the same language and really interact with one another. So if you have one bunny currently, and you came to us because you want your bunny to have a friend, we do have options. So you would follow the instructions on the left. You would bring your bunny for speed dating. Your bunny does have to be spayed or neutered. Ours are also spayed and neutered. And we will do up to 3 eligible bachelor or bachelorettes depending on the gender. We do opposite gender pairing. You can choose to bond at home or our professional bonding services. So our bonding services to the right kind of go into detail of what that is. You would drop off your bunny and we would make the match depending on who your bunny chooses and helps the relationship blossom. That one's $140 and it's for up to a week. So you would just drop bunny off and then you'd come back and pick up your lovebird, both of your bunnies. Now, if you choose to bond your bunnies at home, here is a guide of what that looks like. So we're going to do the introduction. We're going to do a calm environment, like playing soft instrumental music. I like to do coffee jazz on YouTube. We're going to use a baby monitor when we get to longer sessions. We're going to have oven mitts to protect our hands. And so living side by side and then doing introductions in neutral territory will help them bond. So here is a guide of up to 14 days, and this can go a little quicker or longer just depending on the bunnies, but it's a great guide to start out with to have your bunnies bond at home. So you'll need 2 setups and do this daily. While you're bonding your bunnies at home, since you're going to have 2 setups, you'll have 2 litter boxes, 2 waters, but once they're completely bonded, you'll just have 1 enclosure, 1 litter box, 1 water, 1 hay feeder. You can have 2 litter boxes, but they're going to choose to use the same one. So here are examples of positive behaviors, neutral behaviors, negative behaviors. If they are truly not compatible, we do not push it. We let them kind of choose who their friend is and then help their relationship blossom. So if they are fighting and we think it is very aggressive, we're not going to continue with that bunny. So these are all some things that you can look for whenever you're bonding. You can print this out or we can send it to you separately if this is what you are doing. We never want to bathe our rabbits. So rabbits' internal temperature is between 101 to 103 degrees. So whenever you put them in even warm to hot water, they can die from shock or hypothermia. They can get ear infections or pneumonia. They clean themselves like rabbits, so you do not need to bathe them. If they came from really poor living conditions and you rescued a bunny and it is covered in mats, we are going to trim those off. We're not actually going to bathe the bunny. Unless you have a bunny who is special needs or elderly and your vet tells you to do so, they will show you tips on how to bathe them appropriately. Spaying and neutering saves lives, helps them live longer as well. 80% of intact females develop reproductive cancer by the age of 3. So unfortunately, if we go in and we see that the bunny is older and has tumors that are most likely cancer, our vet removes them and we hope that it doesn't come back. This can happen by the age of 3, but other rescues have seen it as early as 8 months of age. So we want to spay and neuter as soon as possible for bunnies, which is about 6 months of age. Males can get reproductive cancer too, but theirs are closer to 50% if you do not neuter. Spaying and neutering reduces aggressive behavior and hormone-driven habits and improves litter box habits. Also helps them make bunny friends since they do have to be spayed and neutered before finding a companion, as their hormones can get in the way and they can be aggressive and have poop wars. So it's really chaotic and we only bond once they're spayed and neutered. It would stop any surprise baby bunnies and overall just contributes to their well-being and happiness. Here is the emergency bunny kit. So these are all items great to have on hand. You want to print off your veterinary contact information, especially if you are traveling and you're taking the bunny with you, or if you are traveling and leaving with a sitter. This will be information that's just easily accessible for them if they have to run to the ER vet for any reason. Critical care is the Oxbow bag in the back. That is a powder, and we're going to mix it with water and feed through a syringe. So we want a really thick, I like to use 60 milliliter syringes with a thick tip. It's a catheter tip. Distilled water to mix with the critical care. Pain medication from the vet, A lot of people will not normally have this. You can ask your vet for a dose or two to have on hand just in case an emergency happens on the weekend. However, it just depends on the doctor. They most likely will not give it to you. Petroleum jelly is Vaseline or anything of that sort to help use with the thermometer. So the way that you take their temperature is rectally. So we do have some videos and can help with that. But you'll take their temperature if they are in stasis to see, do we need to heat them up or do we need to cool them down if they have a fever. Syringe, cotton balls, cotton swabs, organic baby food is to help entice them to eat. But if they're not eating their favorite treats, they're probably not going to eat the baby food. Gauze, disposable gloves, heating pad in case we need to warm them up, gas drops if we believe it is gas related and we need to help relieve them, a towel to bunny wrap Neosporin without pain medication. This would be for wounds. Styptic powder is if you accidentally trim their quick whenever you are trimming their nails and they will start bleeding, kind of like cats and dogs, so they will start bleeding. And styptic powder or cornstarch on the nail will stop the bleeding. Scissors, they're helpful in a lot of cases. So this video is coming to a close. We do have information here on fostering in case you feel like maybe we should foster a bunny before making the 8 to 10 year commitment. This is what fostering looks like. Usually you'll take in a bunny that's next on our waiting list, so you're directly saving that bunny's life. We help with, of course, the medical bills and everything like that. So you would take to our doctors and we would spay neuter, we would do the fecals, we pay the bills. And then once Bunny is healed, Bunny would come back to us at the rescue so that they're available for tours when people are interested in coming to meet that particular bunny to adopt. Or you can choose to adopt your foster bunny. This is also a great option if you are unaware if anyone in the family is allergic to rabbits or to the hay. And that is it. That is the end of our Bunny 101 class. Thank you so much for watching and hopefully choosing to adopt and save a life. If you have any questions, please feel free to message me on social media, email, text or call, any outlet. You'll get me, Samantha, and we are here to help. Bye.